Morning traders, welcome to the Traders Lab. I'm your host, Tom B. Thanks for stopping by today. Big day in the market. Hope you're doing okay. We're going to go into it and going to do my best to speed along, which is always a challenge, and get you into an idea of how the market works, why it does what it does, and why it's so important to understand order flow and have a high-tier order flow tool that could potentially give you more insight as timely participation. And of course, past performance is never indicative of future results. And this stream is based on structured trades that are available to everyone in the Bookmap Discord Trader Lab chat. It is a community of like-minded traders that have come together to leverage their collective experience. The Trader Lab also has a library of webinars, so you can see this process, how it operates in many different market configurations. And also the idea of the Trader Lab is to build a business in trading. If you're interested in business and trading, it's probably a lot different than many of you think it is. Most of us come into this business thinking if we can get the right time frames and indicators, voila, ATM in the basement. I'm going to suggest maybe not. And of course, you have to determine for yourself if you have a viable plan and if that plan is actually potentially sustainable into a business versus just kind of passing through. And again, you have to determine this for yourself. There isn't a right way to trade. I will say, though, there are many ways that don't work, and retail trader statistics bear that out. General disclosure, all Bookmap Ltd. materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice or recommendations. Please grab a pen and a piece of paper. There's going to be a lot to talk about today, and you're going to want to take some notes. Risk disclosure, trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss, and it's not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Can I please get a audio and screen check while we're at it? In YouTube and the Bookmap Discord Trader Lab. Oh, thanks, Stephen. Okay, appreciate it. All right, guys, let's get moving right away. And remember, this is not a trade calling room. If we get into something interesting, we'll discuss it. This is for educational purposes only, and this stream is available exclusively to Bookmap Discord Trader Lab participants to reverse engineer, review, etc. Now, I want to show you something from the ETH, and this is very important. This is based on something called auction market theory. And the thing about trading is, why do we have a market? This is all available in the Trader Lab. I'm not going to spend time today giving you the high points. I'm going to give you where the rubber meets the road and what you might be able to do if you develop an understanding of how the market works. Now, nobody knows what it will do. We are continually in a uncertain environment. So if you're trying to find out how you can predict the next move, I'm going to suggest maybe your efforts are in the wrong place. Maybe it's not about prediction. Maybe it's about uncertainty. If you can reframe your beliefs, which might not be in alignment with this environment or business, maybe that'll do something and change your outcome if it is not satisfactory. The problem most of us have who are, let's just say, outside or in the retail space, is that we grow up believing we can predict what's going to happen, and that's based on wiring to avoid pain and risk. We're wired for that. Don't grab the saber-toothed tiger. So we embark on something of getting certainty. The problem is there's no certainty, and the other part is the need for certainty is primal wiring, avoiding pain and getting eaten by the saber-toothed tiger. The other aspect is this is gaming. Gaming theory is randomness. In random environments, there's no control, only probabilities. This is 7:16-ish in the morning in the ETH. I marked this on my chart because in the ETH, I was looking at behavior. And at this time, the market showed me something interesting. This is an auction or a micro consolidation. I just want to point it out to you. And what I do is what I see, since I don't use indicators in the auction, this is what a consolidation looks like. And what is a consolidation? It's what's too high. In other words, buyers are up here and they are absorbed by sellers. You can't see the passive side. And on the other side are buyers. They're absorbing the sellers in the chop. This is what this is, right there. Now, inside of this volume, I should say, the market breaks away. That means that the buyers are wrong, and who knows, they might just be shorts covering. We don't know what they're doing. And we know there's sellers up here, and you see the selling iceberg. You see the acceleration. You see the retracement. This is actually a short in a microstructure, and I'll be talking more about that in the Trader Lab. Now, there's something else I want to show you. And this is going to take a few minutes, but I appreciate your patience. And by the way, this is not a I told you so moment. It's all random and nobody knows anything. Before the RTH open at 8:22 a.m., caution on the open, be conscious of lower distribution. This is from the ETH, LVN, low volume node, and overnight point of control. Tricky. LVN 51.5-ish. So 51.5 is where, get this out of here. Sorry, guys. I just have to show you. The thing about trading is not predicting, it's anticipating. So here we are at 7:25 in the morning, and there's our level. Now I'm going to try to get quickly over to the RTH open, which is 8:30 Central Time. So this is posted, right? Let's look. So 8:30, which is coming up. Not easy to do this. So remember where this is. Right there. Okay, let's look. Let's look here. Now I'm going to take you in order flow. Location, real estate. What do I see? RTH open. This is responsive buying. In other words, there were shorts in the market, right? If you were short and you get a huge gap lower, and if you remember the streams from the last 2 days, we were in balance. 2 neutral days in a row. And if you're in Trader Lab, guys, remember to review these streams. They are exclusive for you. And I said there's about a 30% probability we get 2 neutral days in a row. And if you look at the last 2 days previous to today of the RTH candles, you had tails on both sides. So that's like a battle. And what it is buyers and sellers are on opposite ends. And there's a 30% probability you get 2 in a row. 3 in a row is a very low percentage probability. It might be 5 or 7%. I don't remember. Not important. And what I said in the stream, and it's, again, I'm not predicting. I am talking about how the market works. And it's still random. We don't know what it'll do, right? That compression is going to lead to a breakout. And I think you see what the breakout is. We also noted the buyers were not the strong side, even on the high of the day before yesterday, and even yesterday on the upside rotations. The buyers didn't have it. And at the end of the day yesterday, now we had a target down below. I can't remember exactly, but we were talking shorts in the close. At least I was in the Discord Trader Lab chat, which I do. I am active in throughout the session when I can, when I'm not managing my own trade. It was bearish. So, and then nobody knows if we'll break out, but then you get the gap. But this is the level from the ETH. Now, here's the short. So I have this level on the price map, and that's exactly what you see. This is what's on my trading computer. I see the buyers up here. I see my seller here. I have no buying here. I'm at location. I see my sellers, and now watch. Pull back. Test. I took a short here, right here. Stop here. And then the first target is this. Let's watch. And there's more. The next target actually was this, 32.5. And there's many opportunities to add. We had another short here, VWAP. So here, and now we have another one, 5505. I just want to show you the trades. I'm not going to show you all the trades. I want to show you structure. I'm going to try to get into real time for you. We have this, the first hour's low has, well, there's a 90% probability we'll take out either the first hour's high or low. I don't know about you. I'm leaning down here. What do you think? Considering we've had hardly a ripple of a counter rotation. That's a short, by the way. And then getting under the IB, under here sets up another short, and there's other ways in. I'll go into them. This is the next target, 5505. I have one more target below, and then I'm clueless as anybody else, and I always am. Here, not a recommendation. This is Trader Lab. This is what we do in the Trader Lab, and it's about building trade plans because the market at times gives you outsized opportunity if you have a vetted plan to operate in it. Now, I haven't seen where we are now, so I'm going to try to get back into, where are we? Here, hold on. Whoop, I got to switch computers. Hold on a second. And by the way, if you have questions, please post them. And welcome to Trader Lab. This is trading in fractals. This is Trader Lab, and this is about the business of trading. I got to tell you, it's not easy being in the trading business. What it is being prepared, knowing and recognizing your emotional states. I'm going to go into real time, and these are not trade recommendations. My objective here is to help you understand market mechanics. This is called the initial balance low. We have a continuation trade in this thing. Actually, it was here. This is a short. Down to there, we have buyer absorption here. This might be our current low for the time being. We have a counter rotation. This is called the low volume zone. It is out here. This is a potential short here, and then you have to be thinking about this. Not a trade. I'm not a trade caller. I take stops. You don't need me to help you lose. You can do that without me. What I do, now this, I'm going to show you trading today in fractals. We have volatility, and that's going to help me show you structure. Is this something you want to see today? And give me a thumb up in YouTube. Lets me know if this is what you want. I'm stepping out a little bit today. Also, as a special today, I'm going to continue this stream in the Bookmap Discord Trader Lab community after I'm finished in YouTube. I'm going to be on YouTube till about noon, and then I'm going to continue live narration. This is something, it's going to potentially be a one-off. It probably won't be for an extended period of time, but the nature of the day, I'm going to try to give you a little bit more today because this is when you can learn. So I'm going to be suggesting, this is a short, by the way. I just missed it. I wasn't looking at it. What am I going to do? But you can see it. I want you guys to understand what happens. Now, when I say it's a short, I'm only talking market mechanics, trading in fractals. I am not a scalper, not interested. And this, I'm only talking about me. This is a valid trade for me in the time frame I operate in. And here's what makes it valid for me. Not saying for anybody else. You might look at this, roll your eyes back in your head, and pass out. This is called the volume point of control. This right there, VPOC. That is where most of the volume is for today so far. It has been moving lower, suggesting the market is searching for value. And right now, this is where the highest volume is. The market has the potential to come back here or continue south of the border. And we have what? A target here, which I mentioned at the top of the stream. And that's an area. It's nothing more than that. It's like maybe, who knows, clueless. This also was a target coming down. If I can get under here again and take out the low, that puts this on the hit parade. Now I'm going to talk to you about the short. The current short, which I wish I was here to tell you about, but I just can't, this is called a low volume node. I'm going to mark it, trying to catch up here. And what a low volume node is, think consolidation and outside edges of consolidation, just like I showed you in the microstructure. So when you come outside and we fell out of this, and then it's a consolidation, and then we start one of these deals. When you come out to this outside edge, and remember, we had this structure, the buyers were here. We come out here, we take the stops over this swing. Let's look. I'm going to show you the microstructure now. Buyers are here, 24 stops. Buyers are here, 9, 2, what is that? Exhaustion. What is delta? Buyers and stops. We don't know the difference. We just know. I see my sellers here, so I know they're active. I see a selling iceberg, stop an iceberg detector. So here, buyer. Here, stop sweep. In a trend configuration, and you have to research this, when I see a sweep and I see these guys get picked off, it often means potential for continuation. There's my seller. Here's my micro high volume. This is my trigger. I'm going to label it. Hope you find this interesting. I'm not, you can see it. Right, that node. So this node, all this marking slows me down. But if you can't see what I'm looking at and understand what it means, then you are kind of missing the opportunity. So let's come back here. Chop, 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 too high. This is a short, the IB continuation trade. Down. Rotation. What do I have here? Let's look some more. I have buyers here. They got stuffed. This is my high volume, right? Actually, it's here. I'm sorry. So I got volume here, and I got my IB here. So this is a short structured trade in TraderLab. I pull back out here. If I can't get above this, other than picking the stops, and I always am looking left, this sets up a continuation short. Where to? Back here. Now, let's watch. And why would it be here, you're asking? Because this is an important location of high volume previously. Absorption, you notice the absorption here? This is like manic buying down here. And so what you have, I'm going to show you this. So this is how I work. These are not, this is just one way to slice and dice the enchilada. You see this absorption? So these are sellers. That's the red bubbles. You see sweeps going on and absorption. It's just the, oh my goodness, we're going to zero, Lewis. 5,000 icebergs. This is meaningful, importante, okay? So I know coming down here, there's a lot going on, and I got to look potentially for counter rotation. Okay. Next thing we need to know is what happened in here. What we have here is microstructure. I'm going to put a little line down here. I want you to see now, and I want to stress really significantly, this is not how anybody ought to trade. This is how somebody can create a trade plan and understand how to operate in fractals. The beauty of trading in fractals is you can determine where you trade and the range. There are some traders that are going to go from maybe here to wherever. There's other traders who are short from here and go to lunch. I think of one trader in the Trader Lab. I'm not mentioning names, but we all know who he is. And let's look at the trade here. Too high. Here's the break. Pull back. My volume is here. Right here. I know I have a potential short. And it's because of this. This volume is accumulating here. My sellers were here. They got popped. Now I got my buyers and I got nada. So this is a big suspect. I break low. This is a trigger in the Trader Lab. So we have now absorption here. Why is it absorption? Because there were buyers and the passive side, the limit order book. Remember, there's passive and aggressor. Aggressors are buyers and buy stops because they become a market order. They show up as delta. That's what this is. But the passive side, we don't see them. We might see them in absorption, but if we don't see absorption indication, we know if there's no buying above the buyer, they were absorbed. So it's in hindsight. So in hindsight, I know this is maybe too high. I got my trigger. I'm just showing you the short. I come back up here. I have a sweep. I have exhaustion. And the sweep is in a trend configuration. And I suggest if you're in Trader Lab, and I've posted this, you research sweeps. Now, this is a short. Now, where was the buying? It was here and where else? Here. Let's mark it. So I have two locations to be, not to be unconscious, but to be conscious. And the other high volume is here. So I know about these icebergs. So this is a big deal here. And there's the iceberg absorbing the sellers. So now the shorts who were here, this leg got squeezed. If I don't get above here, then I can anticipate a rotation back down and to test these buyers, these icebergs. So let's look at the trade. This is your test. So if you were taking this trade, you have to manage it. And remember what our obstacle is. It's there. You see? So what do I see here? I've got my iceberg here. I've got my level there. Now, this is maybe scalp material. What else do I know? This is called VPOC migration. This is now the new retail price. This is still an outside edge. This is still a location to think about. This is absorption. This is a potential short, but we have this. Now, what do? Nice question, huh? You got to determine, is this a trade? Because here's where the last place the sellers were absorbed. And I have this. So if I get short here, these sellers were absorbed, and now we get to observe the behavior. Now, these are not trade recommendations. I'm sharing with you. Now, the short up here was a short to here, right? I'm not saying anybody ought to do this, all right? But I would tell you this. If you took a short in here, your stop would be here. Your scale would be there. There. Now you have your helmet on. Now, right here is very important. These guys were absorbed right here. If we come up above here, we're going to come here and potentially squeeze back outside to the low volume node. If not, we're going to test these guys down here. And this is, this is a big deal, the 5,500 level. And remember, we have a potential target, and it's not a recommendation because who knows? This is part of the joy. It's random here. So write that down, 5490-ish, and that depends if we get below these guys, the buy icebergs in this level. So that's all I know right now. So let's read let's follow the yellow brick road. Is everybody tracking? Please give a thumb up if you're in YouTube. Guys, the YouTube is available to everybody. And if you're in the Bookmap Discord Trader Lab community, this stream will be available exclusively to you. Trying to think here. The Discord continuation stream will not be recorded. That is exclusive for Trader Lab participants. And it's going to be brief. It's going to be subject to what we have, if there's meat on the bone and something worth discussing. But I'm going to be focusing today on microstructure. This is absorption. You can see a selling iceberg. The key to this is, now this is retail. There's two things that can happen here. We can push off, check that iceberg below, and that is an area of concern. They might defend that 5,000 going off is a big deal, in the scheme of things. So we need to not forget that. This is where the stop and iceberg detector is really important. You want to know what happened here. You want to know there was buying. Now, here's the question with buying. Are they getting long or are they covering it short? Part of the joy of who knows. So if you know you don't know, then you have to follow a plan because every moment in the market is uncertain. Here's what I know. This is a short. What else do I know? Absorption was here. We're still on the short. What else do I know? And these are not trade. I'm not a trade caller. I don't do it. I figure you guys can take stops as well as I do. Why not? Why not escape the privilege? Part of the joy and the randomness of trading. You need to understand the business you're in. The business you're in is being prepared. So when this kind of day comes along, you're doing the same exact things you do every day in the Trader Lab. This is no different than another day in the Trader Lab. The only thing that's changed, and I say this all the time, is the rotations, the range, and something called context. The context is down. The counter rotations have been minimal. The S&P is down, whatever. I can't see it. It's covered up right now. But maybe 1,000 points, maybe, whatever. I mean, 1,000. I'm thinking of the Dow, but something like that. And I don't look at any of that stuff. I trade the ES. I trade nothing else, even the NQ. I don't look at the NQ to tell me how to trade the ES. The truth of the market is in the participant behavior, not an indicator. I don't use indicators. Now, the thing about an indicator is, and I always want to point this out, because retail traders come into our business and they think, it's an indicator-based business. It is not. Indicators have a place, but if you don't understand market mechanics, how it works, why it does what it does, and structuring trades so you can align an indicator if that's what you choose to do. The problem with indicators, and I'm only talking from my experience, and I'm going on 45 years of doing this, professionally and now sitting out in the ozone with you guys. The thing about an indicator is everything works at times. And we get stuck in thinking random behavior, like throwing a dart at a board or flipping a coin, has an edge, but it's random. So we see patterns of behavior with our indicators, and then we go on this quest of making our indicators better. This is an area to observe. Of course, this thing down here, and if we have to notice there's an iceberg hanging out here. So this is a level, and if I'm short from up here, I am looking at this I should say. Here's a sweep. So let's watch and see what happens here. This trade could, depending on your plan, could be done here, or it's a scale, or if we get below this, then we have our next target. And remember, I have no clue. So I don't say to you or insult your intelligence from a trading point of view, it's going here. I have no idea where it's going. You know what I have an idea of? How the market works, why it does what it does, and how at times to get in alignment. Then I trade towards targets, and I manage my trade and accept the outcome, which is random, just like the casinos do. The cards come out of the deck, they're random. The way the gamblers play their cards is random. The outcome of each hand is uncertain. How do casinos do so well in an uncertain environment? They only play games that have an edge, that favor the casino, and they accept the random distribution of outcomes. We are attached to the outcomes. The business in gaming, the casinos see the gamblers walk out. When they walk out with suitcases of cash, it's a random event, and they see it as overhead and cost of production. We experience it emotionally because we're attached to the outcome. That will take you out of the business. I believe if you come to Trader Lab, anybody can learn how to trade if they do the work. And yes, it's work. You want to build a career, you have to develop expertise and get to a high level of proficiency. That takes time. You roll your sleeves up, you say, I want to be a trader. If you just want to play a video game, not the business to be in. Play a video game. But this is not that. And I believe I can help you learn to trade. Come to Trader Lab if you want to find out other traders' experience. Our senior trader has over 50 years. I'm going on 45. I'm the kid on the block. However, I have done what you have done. Remember, this is another level we have to be conscious of. Let's watch it right here. What I do, and these are not recommendations, I manage my trades. I do it using order flow. I know, and this is another potential short in Trader Lab. It's called the VPOC migration trade. It is a structured trade. Just saying. So what do we have? If you were getting involved, you got a short here, based on this. Break is the trigger, pull back. You're looking for a short. You get short anywhere in this thing. Your stop is above here. Down you go, you get risk neutral. VPOC migration. Now this is subject to plan. If you're not interested in this, it's a trade management opportunity. Absorption here. This is where this trade fails. You put this trade on here, your stop can be here or here. You're holding. This is your next location. Where did it come from? Here. That's a scale. Now what? More absorption down here. Very important. This is the next target. This is the micro high volume node. I marked it. And this is the way you can trade in fractals. Again, I'm not calling trades, but I see the sellers again. I see the absorption. If we break below here, not a recommendation, what's next on the hit parade? You wrote this down. And if I was sitting here, not streaming, I'd be rocking and rolling. These are my trades. I'm not recommending them to you. I'm just saying it's one way to do your thing. And it's not what I do. When you understand, and you have to understand and learn and develop how this works, you can trade anything you want to trade. And here's the other thing. In any time frame you want to trade. You could just be sitting short from the high of the day and go and visit with Rod and go to the gym or take a nap. Rod is one of the traders in the Trader Lab. And I always like to joke around with Rod. He contributes a lot, and there's a lot of traders who contribute in Trader Lab. I'm just mentioning Rod because he goes for outsized targets. He's more of a large swing type trader. I am more of a fractal trader because my psychology, if I get a counter rotation, I'm talking about me, my stomach flips and I'm going for the airline sickness bag. He's much more mellower, So that's his personality. The difference is I'm going to take 5 trades and he may take 1, or I'll miss a big part of the move because I'm trading in the fractals and then I don't have a way back in. So it's what sorts out. But what I have found, P&L is part of it, Edge, of course, is the most important part of it. And then psychology. Most traders put psychology on the back burner, and they don't understand that no matter what trading plan you develop, whether it has an edge, and let's assume it does, if you can't execute it because of emotional triggers, which we all have them, so don't think you're unique that way. And willpower is not the solution. I tried it for years. I even tried behavior modification. I had a big rubber band on my wrist, and I would snap it to try to change my behavior. It didn't work. And I'm talking a couple of years. I had a real sore wrist, but I still made the errors. Please give a thumb up in YouTube. Thumb up, please, if you're finding this useful. And remember, this stream is going to continue exclusively for Bookmap Discord, Trader Lab participants in the Bookmap Discord channel. I'm going to extend it a little bit, being mindful and respectful of other streamers. Now, if you're in YouTube and you are interested in what you see happening here and what you see every day, these streams are available to everyone in the Bookmap Discord Trader Lab community to reverse engineer, review, and screenshot and the rest of it. This is how you can improve your game. If you're visiting in YouTube, there's a link in the bottom of YouTube. You can click that. You can come to the Bookmap Discord Trader Lab community. There's no cost. There's a library of webinars you can watch on this process, available exclusively to Bookmap Discord Trader Lab participants, as well as 60 PDFs of these trades and derivatives of them that you can download, reverse engineer. Remember, our next target here, not a trade recommendation. Are you guys getting something out of this? YouTube, is this making some sense? Can you see what this is all about? Please give a thumb up in YouTube. I need to know if I should continue streaming in YouTube or we just go private in Discord. Because if it's not worth your time, I'd rather spend more time with the Trader Lab participants. So I need to know this is useful. I am not objective anymore, and don't be offended by that statement. I just don't know if this is something that is useful. This is Trader Lab. This is auction market theory. I'm using no indicators. I'm using order flow. If I can see what's happening here, notice the absorption. Now, it's very important. Remember, there's 5,000, 6,000 icebergs in here. If we get below these guys, and we can't come back above, this is a key level now, right here, then hasta la vista, next target. So this is very important. So for me, and again, not trade recommendation, this is our last short. This is a short. This is Trader Lab. Scale, scale, helmet. Now here, you could be right here. You could have trailing a stop here above this fractal. We are now below. You could be trailing us. I would trail my stop over here. If I can break below and stay under here, I'm now going to trail my stop here. Not a trade recommendation. This is my target. All this is in advance. This is the Trader Lab, and I get pretty excited about it because I know you're not seeing this elsewhere. And here's the part that's probably the best. You can learn how to do this. But you got to invest in yourself. Watch another 1,900 icebergs. You got 5,600-ish here. You got about 2,000 floating around over here. You must be very conscious of what's going on here. And this is not a trade recommendation. For me, it's a stay awake moment because I can get a squeeze coming out of this. And if not, if I don't, it's really going to get interesting. Either way, this is my next target. The fact it's a target, here's the thing to understand about targeting and auction. We don't know how or if or when. So there's a lot of we know nothing, right? Uncertainty if the market will ever get there. So that's not the job. The job is to take structured trades that you have an edge and then manage the trade using some process. I use order flow and I can see volume. Since I'm using the volume profile, I know what this says. This is language. This volume right here, and this is where I'm looking for this iceberg here. If these guys fail, we go here. If they don't fail, we squeeze out. So I have this buying, and let's remember what happened here. These guys. This might be the same guy. I don't know, So I see these sellers, so we know there's buyers. We know there's buyers. So the choice for you becomes managing the trade. Do you have a trade management process? Where would this trade fail? is it failing right now, right here? If it comes over here, this is now the outside edge. This here. So right in here. So if you're short for about, this is the continue, this is a short, but the short that I was here. So here, these are all shorts. So what do you do now? How about this? Number one, before you ever put a trade on, if you're in Trader Lab, you already know what you will do. If you are a deer in the headlights and you don't know what you will do, then it is all emotional triggering. What do I do? What do I do? Fear, greed. Do I stay in? Do I get out? What do I do? You ever have that feeling? Why? Because you're allowing yourself to be led around by your emotional state. You're not following a plan. So this trade could be done right here. And does it matter, by the way? I'm asking you the question because for me, I would be out, and it's not a trade recommendation. Why would I be out? I think I already explained it. Because of this and that. How would you know that if you don't have the stop an iceberg detector? Now, this is absorption. You can assume some things. So this trade, now let's come back to the microstructure. Where's the volume? I'm going to show you the micro. Now, what I do is I know what happened here. This seller, they're getting absorbed. These guys are getting absorbed. If they're getting absorbed and the sellers can't overpower these guys, so what you have is buyers absorbing. It doesn't mean we can't keep going. It's when do we run out of sellers and these shorts get trapped? At that moment, it's time to get out of Dodge if that's your plan. Whoops, hold on. So look at the change in behavior. If you understand order flow, and this is what I was narrating for you, we have to watch this area. Now, what do I see? The sellers and the absorption. What do I get here? I see my first buyers. I see no buyer here. I see a seller. I see a buyer here. That's absorption. I see my seller here. Going to zero, Lewis, except buyer. I see buyer above. So I have seller here, seller here. That's the red bubble, delta. And I have the buyers absorbing the sellers. So right here, I'm going, warning, Will Robinson moment. There's my buyers here. We are above the sellers and we are above these guys. So right here, this trade's over. Or right above here, whatever you want to do, but this trade's over for me. Doesn't matter. Now, where's my last place where it was too high? It was here. So I can be done. I have I'm just telling you my personal preference. It doesn't mean anything because I'm trading in a shorter time frame. In other words, I call it chunks. I take pieces because that fits my personality. Rod, who's in the Trader Lab, he might, and I can't speak for him. He can post if he wants to tell us. He might be I'm still trading towards this, but I'm now have a good reason to be out of this trade. And now if it comes up to one of my locations and zips down here and I don't have a way in, I accept that because I'm following a plan that fits me. I'm just saying. So what do I know? I know these sellers got absorbed. I know I have a ton of buy icebergs here. I know the market is short and I know there's stops now here. I know, look what I know. I know this is the retail price in the developing time frame, high volume. It's the same concept of why this is a target down here. This was a retail price that we left previously that was too low. The nature of the market in all fractals and time frames is to check pricing. Now, it doesn't mean it'll ever get there and who knows, right? Can you see the rationale of why you might cover? Give me a thumb up, give me a yes, give me a no, give me a I don't know. Well, you're welcome. I'm glad you guys are getting something out of this. Remember, this stream is going to continue exclusively for Bookmap Discord Trader Lab participants in the Bookmap Discord Trader Lab chat. If you're interested in this kind of narration and education, there's no cost. You need to click the link in the bottom of YouTube. Come over to the Bookmap Discord Trader Lab. You will not be spammed. You will not be solicited. Nada. Zippo. There's no cost. You don't have to be a Bookmap subscriber. I think when you see what you can do with a high-tier order flow tool, you will find that assuming you have a vetted trade plan, you'll see how you can fit it in. To me, it is the tip of the spear. This is where the rubber meets the road. I got my buyers, and I have now the sellers absorbing. I got sell iceberg somewhere over here, 470. So I'm going to watch this behavior. Now, let's remember, this is the retail price. This is the IB. Now, I want to point a few things out. This is my outside edge. This is an outside edge. I'm going to label this. These are distributions. Now, what's a distribution? Now, fancy talk. All it is volume and consolidation. So in when I started this, I learned market profile from Peter Stottlemyre, and it was licensed by CBOT, and I can't remember exactly when, mid-80s, I think, somewhere. I started trading in 1980. So we're talking an abacus, technical analysis as far as indicators. Wells Wilder was in its infancy. There was no internet. We didn't even have computers. We had to use terminals. They called them dumb terminals. And as a retail trader, believe me, we're all kind of dumb. But I persisted, and over time, developed trading systems because I became a fund manager. So it's just part of what my job was. And I went down the yellow brick road of curve fitting. But we called it optimization. This is important behavior. Now, this is the retail price. When you rotate up from an outside edge, we have the possibility of coming back here and squeezing out. If we do, it's a context in a context. Now, there's a couple possibilities. Here, rotation down, that's one. And we can watch this right here. There's absorption. There's a short. Now, I'm not calling the trades. I'm just telling you what you're looking at. Okay? There is stops, though. Here's the other piece. You got to look here. This is a swing. There was absorption here. So there's stops here, and we know this is an outside edge. This is a Trader Lab short. Now, remember, I'm not calling trades. I'm just giving you a sense of smell on this thing. Now, where might it go? Now, this gets also interesting. Let me try to keep up with this. High volume node is here. We might just come out to here. So I would be, and this, you have to understand how to read this. And this, how do you do this? Well, first of all, if you're in Trader Lab, this is drills. This is what I do in Trader Lab. I'd say, look at this, observe. That's why I said observe. And now there's your buyer. There's your exhaustion. 272 buy stops. What do you see here? 4 stop diversions. This is one of the beauties of the stop and iceberg detector. It's an add-on that it is part of the Bookmap suite. This is Global Plus. Go to bookmap.com if you want to get an idea what you might be able to do. If you want to learn order flow, there's a lot of education in Bookmap Discord, real-time streaming by different educators, and our senior educator is Bruce, and Bruce is a order flow maven beyond, and you can get an idea. And then you come to Trader Lab, you'll see how to put some of these nuances. Remember what this is, and remember what that is. So what do I see here? Potential short. Now, this is rotational trading. You don't have to trade this. Maybe you don't want to trade it. I'm just saying is, and how do you get into this? I'm going to show you this. Now, this requires experience, guys. You do not start with this. In the Trader Lab, you start with a broader stroke. So let me take you into fractal world. This is like the electron microscope, and this is where order flow comes in. First of all, location, real estate. Remember? Location. We're not doing it in the middle. I'm not doing it here. Where am I doing it? At a location. So that's the first thing. Guard stroke. Now we need to understand, and this is what the auction is. Why is this location important? Right? Why? Now let's look here. Here. So right here, first of all, location. 270 buy stops coming up. Oh, it's the end of the planet. 4 stops divergence. This is the only thing I think I use from indicator world. Divergence. Wonderful concept. Now what? Buyers. Now right here, I don't know anything except I'm in alignment with my location. Now I don't put a limit order here and go and then close my eyes and pray. That's not what I do. So I see this. So here I've got a couple pieces. Here I have my buyers. I'm looking for this. And what do I get? This now, these guys are absorbed. Now I don't know it until I see this. Right here, if I don't get above here, this is a short. Now, if you can't enter, and you would have to, right here, you'd have to be getting short here. Not easy, guys. And here's the other piece. If you can't enter here, you don't have a trade, but you can see it. So let's look. What do we see here? Let's come back to the location. Now, this to me is, I don't do this. I mean, I can do it, but it's not my preference. Why wouldn't I do this? Because if I can't execute here, which I might get in over here, my stop is going to be here. I mean, that's me. And where's my target? Here. It's almost a 1-to-1. Not my preference. However, let's watch. Where's my microstructure? It is here. And I'm going to give you more. Suppose, I'm going to tell you where my next trade will be. If we come across here, I'm going to be looking either here or out in here to get short back to here, down towards the low. That's all. I can tell you that already. Those are structured trades in the trader lab. This is an aggressive trade, and it would just be a scalp. Remember what the issue is over here. This, the absorption, you see? So if I get the squeeze and I see my sellers and I now have exhaustion here, I can take a short from here. And now let's look at where my volume is. I'm going to put a little box around this. I want you to see this. And I hope you're getting something out of this. I just thought I'd do something a little different for you guys. Because if you're in the trader lab, you know what I'm doing. If you're not in the trader lab and you're interested to find out what's going on here, you can learn this. Now, I'm not saying anybody should do this, but there's a reason I don't use indicators. Where did this come from? There. What had happened here? Absorption. What is this? It's another short. Or it's a place to put your stop. Or, you see what I'm saying? So if I miss this, how can I get in it? I can get in here. Are you guys tracking? Can you see what I'm doing? And are you getting something out of this? Please give a thumb up. How are we doing in YouTube? Thumb up, please, if you're getting something out of this. This is Trader Lab, and it is available to all of you at no cost. I think it's unique. It shows you the commitment that Bookmap has to trader development. The education, not only in the Trader Lab, but in the Bookmap community, stocks, options, crypto, order flow with a high-tier tool like Bookmap, algorithmic behavior, market maker behavior, option swing trading. It goes on and on and on. In other words, what's your thing? And there is no right way to trade. You may think, really? What there is what works for you, what can align psychologically. That goes for time frames also. I call this fractal trading, and because time is, I don't use the clock. what I found, and I'm like you guys, I started out 5 minute, 15 minutes, 60 minute. We didn't have tick charts. I'm trying to remember. Maybe we did early on. It's been so long. Maybe, yeah, I can't remember when we got tick charts, but you couldn't see any of this, and we had no volume. We had nothing. And just a little reminder, if you don't remember, I learned market profile from Peter Stottlemyre. He created it. I also shared an office with George Lane. He created stochastics. So I understand indicators. Been there, done that. Anything you've probably thought of, I probably have done, or derivatives of it. And I'm not saying some things don't work all the time. By the way, icebergs are absorbing again here. Everything works. That's the problem with randomness. Everything works. In 1980, now I traded through the market crash, 911, 87 crash, Desert Storm, currency crises, everything, just about everything going on. And you will be surprised, because what you think is things happen that go boom in the night, and you just don't know. Trade plan is what allows you to participate if it fits the parameters. When you're in a heightened state, dopamine, adrenaline is flying, you're losing your mind. The trade plan is what gives you guidance. You will recognize your emotional triggers. You need to understand them. So this is a short. This is the retracement. You see it? So when I miss a trade, other than my emotions that are triggered in my FOMO, I have learned through pain and contributions to the retired floor traders pension fund that I need to wait. And if it just goes zip, I wait for the next bus. It's as complicated as that. If I come up here and I see what? Buyers and absorption, and I come up to an area, I see my buyer. So I got my sellers here, I got my buyer here. I got my buyers here. I got my sellers here. Right here is a micro consolidation. I can get short here with a stop here or a stop there, whatever. And then I'm going for scaling. My things get risk neutral. I am risk adverse. What's this? This is the outside edge of this consolidation. We might just come down here and then rotate up here. Or an area. It's not like, is it going to come here? I know this is an area, so I can watch this, and I have this and this. That's what I got. So it's short. I'm in the short area. I will not be taking a long. The only way I get long is to cover. I do not take a long to counter trend. It's not my plan. Why? There's advancing army, and then there's, think of it like an army that they send the guys up. We're retreating. Give us a counterattack so we can get our trucks and tanks out of here. We're going that way. So you get the counterattack. These guys get thrown under the bus, and then it's shorts for continuation trades. So for me, I've been no longs. I can't imagine a long. The other thing is we had hardly any counter rotations today. This is, as they say, coyote ugly for the longs. So all I can do is take my shorts. Can you guys see why, and where, and how? Is this making sense? If you're in YouTube, give a thumb up. I need the thumbs. Josie, the trigger is here. There's two triggers. This is actually a trigger, but you got to enter, with a scalpel. To be able to do this takes a lot of experience, okay? And you got to, in other words, you don't want to hit the plunger and get filled over here because your risk is going to be back here, okay? I mean, it's 3 points. My thing is this, and you might still get in over here, but now it's defined because of the selling that happened here. So you got this, and then you got this. So that's a short. This is the trigger, depending how you look at it. So this can be your trigger if you can enter on a timely basis. I can, but I got a little experience. For the rest of us, and even me, if I'm just asleep at the switch, I mean, if I'm not right here mentally, and it does this on me, I'm going to feel the FOMO triggered. That boom. And that's what it is. I got to wait. I've learned through painful experience that if I sell this and then have a stop here and I get taken out, it makes me upset because it's unnecessary. I take stops all the time, by the way. I'm no secret. Why do we take stops? It's about protecting our account. It's not about being right. So remember where our volume is. This. So we have an outside edge there. So I am monitoring right here. So right here, I have my buyer. So this trade could be over right here for me. I'm just telling you how I operate. If you're a higher time frame trader, you have to be willing, after you get risk neutral, however you do that, to be, and I'm just saying this, I might take this out, or I'm just showing you structure, or I'm betting on my next target. What's your plan? The thing that happens, and because this is a short, so you could just keep your stop here, scale, you now have, and then you're managing it. This is a place to manage. The buyers came in here, they got stuffed. Your stop could be here. What's your plan? If I got my sellers here, they absorb the buyers. If I break down here, I can put my stop here. I'm just giving you ideas. I'm not calling trades. I could be out here, here. I could be managing there. I could be managing there. This is my target. Not a recommendation because who knows? I get below this and we can accelerate. This is trading in fractals. I'm giving you the options so you can understand how you can read it, and then the plan must exist before the fact. You're not making it up here. So you would go, okay, I'm keeping my stop at my last place where my buyers got absorbed, which is here. Or here. My sellers absorb the buyers in here, and I'm now below it. I come up and test it. Here's my buyers. They did not take this guy out, where this absorption, the sellers. My stop is now here. Now what do I do? My stop is here. Are you okay with this? It's 3 points or whatever. If I get below the low of the day, we'll accelerate. We still have these icebergs and this absorption. This is support. You know that if you're in Trader Lab. This is support that's coming from here. I know it. You know it if you're in Trader Lab. The thing is, we don't know what it'll do here. We know what it might do. What we know is if it comes over here, then that's that. And these sellers now are getting squeezed. It's as easy or as hard as that. If this, then that. If not, if we don't get below it, then that. So if this is too high and I break and I come back and I don't get above it. So if this, then that. If I don't get below, then what? Then, or get above, then what? South. If I get down to support where my buyers took over and I can't get below it. So if this, then that. If not, and I take it out, then what? Then potentially that. This is also what you learn in Trader Lab. And it's about the business of trading, guys. There's no secret sauce. There's no guru here. It doesn't exist. Trader Lab is not about me. It's just process, and everybody brings their stuff. We leverage our collective experience. There's not a right way to trade. It's a collective. This business requires support. It requires a team effort to leverage. Trading, unless somebody trades, I try to talk to somebody about trading, their eyes glass over in about 30 seconds, and they think they don't understand anything, and you can't expect them to. Because until you've done this, it's just fantasy. The reality of this business is quite different. So let's watch. Notice where we got the absorption. Here. Where are we? Outside edge. So all these are on the price map. What you don't know is what will happen. That's why you need the trade plan. That's why this level, which was created by this volume, is material. If I get below it, I go lower. If I can't get below it, I go higher. That's about it. Now, if we get above here, you're out of the trade. It's as complex as that. So you get a scale and maybe you're out. That'll buy you some pizza or maybe even a ribeye. It's a rotational trade. That's all this is. But if you can see this and understand it, the behavior is generic in the fractal you operate in. That's how I trade. And I can trade this. You can trade it if you want to. Or, let me give you the or, subject to your plan. Here and here. If we come above this, it sets up a condition, a context inside a context. Let's agree context is lower at the moment. Okay? So down. So no longs, unless that's your thing. Me, not so much. If I come here and squeeze out, I have this out here and I have out here. I have what's called mean reversion. So if I come out, this is the mean. It's the volume point of control. It's the highest volume. Currently, it's there. If we spend more time lower, it'll shift lower. And then if I come outside, the mean reversion trade is outside in and to come across. So that's a structured trade in TraderLab. That's already hanging out there if it happens. So part of having a trade plan is knowing where your trades are. Now, if it never gets back here, you don't have a trade. You sit, you work on your crochet. Where's the swings? Here and here. So there's stops sitting here and here. Watch this behavior here. Microstructure. This is an outside edge in the micro. This is a high volume node. So this is out. I'm showing you now micro. I'm going to go into the microteria. Too high, retail. Too low. So this is your outside edge. This is an outside edge. This is retail there. So right here, right here. So this is a fractal. We clear this, then we can go south of the border. It's not a trade I can take. It's a trade I can use to monitor behavior. So I might be out of this trade. You might still be in the trade. You see? That's time frame specific. What do I see here? Exhaustion. What's here? High volume. I break below it. Now this is resistance, but that was resistance also. Break below here. Buyers got trapped here. There's your seller. Came down here. Sellers got trapped here. Here's your buyers. So these are where the buyers got trapped. They absorbed the sellers. They got run over. Come back up and test this. Too high. Come back down. LVN. So we want to see the behavior. You break below this. And what does that open the door to? This. This is trading in fractals. Now, I'm showing you how to read. I'm not suggesting how you manage your trades or what you do. I'm giving you a sense of market mechanics. You can then come to TraderLab if you find this interesting, and you can actually pull this apart. What I call it is reverse engineer it. These are what the structured trades look like. You can download, there's 60 PDFs of these, and you can kind of see what this is. And these are not, you have to vet these. There's no one way, right way. These are actual trades. And these are from like 2020. Before I started streaming, Bookmap asked me to trade. Some are in queue, and some are other trades. Whoops. Give me that. And you can kind of see what's going on. And then you decide what's your time frame, what's your fractal. You roll your sleeves up and you build out the business of trading. This stream is about business. It's not romper room. It's not the latest fad. It's not AI, which will, plug and play, and now you have an ATM in the basement. Let's get real. Psychologically, we want certainty. I'm going to suggest to you, it does not exist. Randomness exists because we don't know where other participants are going to be activated. That's the random component. We don't know what will happen ever in the market. We can isolate behaviors and locations to potentially participate. And then we can, if we choose, participate. And you can develop confidence not in the outcome of any individual trade. You can develop confidence in your process, and the outcome is random. You will take stops. That's the facts, Jack. Casinos pay the gamblers. Do you want to be in the business of trading, which is really a gaming business, or do you want to keep gambling? I mean, gamblers win, but over time, the casinos extract the dollars from the gamblers over a random distribution of outcomes. That's the reality of this. And that's what this is. So if you approach it that way, it's no longer about you knowing what's going to happen. It's more about you knowing you're not going to know what's going to happen. And that helps you manage the fear, the emotional triggers. The emotional triggers is not about your intention. Your intentionality does not control the triggering mechanisms. Your intellect or consciousness is built on top of reptilian brain. And through, let's just call it, what do they call that? Selection. Those worms or whatever who could figure out that you want to stay away from the things that eat you, survived natural selection, and the ones, who didn't figure that out got, picked off. So the species, the development of whatever, survival was based on that selection, and those genes and that methodology, if you will, that process was built in limbic system, I think it is. And then our consciousness and intellect evolved on top of that. It's underneath. So even though our consciousness has one idea, this primal wiring is triggering responses. That's why willpower doesn't solve it. And we all struggle with that. I did for years. That's why I built trading systems. Because I wanted to remove myself from it and just have the system do it and rely on statistics. And the problem is it kept breaking down because it was looking in the past, trying to, quote, operate in the future. Well, today is certainly not yesterday or the day before, you see. So are you curve fitting for today when this is an outlier and the bread and butter trading is not in these conditions, but the process for bread and butter operates also here, you see? That's what Trader Lab is about. I just want to share the concept with you, because this is, if you're in Trader Lab and you've done the work and you've learned to manage your emotions, which, by the way, I do think is the hardest part of this. I believe anybody can learn to trade if they do the work. And a lot of us want somebody to hand it to us. Unfortunately, that's not going to solve. Or go in a trade calling room. Might as well just write somebody a check and go to work. This is not what I do for a living. You guys know what I do. And if I was not streaming, because I cannot multitask well, I would be on these trades. That's as simple as that. And I take the stops, I take the targets, I do whatever I do, and I just do my thing. Remember, our target is this, not a recommendation. Would you know that in your trade plan? Would you have a process for this? Do you find this useful? And remember, guys, if you're interested in the Bookmap Discord Trader Lab chat, there is no cost. There's a link in the bottom of YouTube. You can access the chat, all the resources in the Bookmap server. If you remember also, if you're a subscriber to Bookmap, there's the Bookmap Academy, which is specifically for you. Again, no cost. You can get coaching and mentoring there. Plus, you can also, if you're part of the Academy, have the ability to get free Bookmap. Also, access to beta test new tools that are always in development. I've been using Bookmap, I think it's 2015. I really don't remember. Maybe even earlier. I just can't remember anymore. And it has evolved. It's an incredible tool. That's all I can tell you. I wouldn't trade without it. And I certainly tried reading the Dome back in the day. It just moved too fast for me. And once algos, came in, then I couldn't read it. So with this, with Bookmap, I can read the DOM, and you can see me narrating it and talking to you about what's going on. This is order flow. That's why this is a short. This is right here, the buyers got stuffed. This is also a potential continuation trade. All of these are potential trades. Go into there, and it's up to your plan. You might not take a short here. You might not take a short here, which was the last short. You might be out of this and put it back on here. It's all subject to you. You can learn this and you can determine what's right for you in the Trader Lab. And I'm kind of proud of the Trader Lab because I've never seen this elsewhere. I don't know. We have traders in Trader Lab who've been trading a long time, and this has changed their participation in the Trader Lab, has changed their outcome. And I'm not saying it'll work for you. It's not for everybody. Nothing, and trading is certainly not for everybody. It is the toughest, most rewarding career you could probably ever develop. And it is very difficult because of the obstacles. And most of them, I believe, are psychological. I believe anybody can learn to trade if they do the work. That's just a personal belief. It's not a recommendation, of course. Give a thumb up in YouTube. Click the link in the bottom of YouTube if you want to visit Trader Lab. And this stream is going to continue exclusively in the Bookmap Discord Trader Lab community today for a little while. Really all I can tell you. And again, these streams are available exclusively to Bookmap Discord Trader Lab participants for review. This is how you learn. If you got questions, please post them in YouTube and in the Bookmap Discord Trader Lab. JT, if it's a market profile, I think you should read, Dalton has good books on it. I don't really do that in the classical sense. I've kind of made it my own. A lot of stuff on any process is rigid. It comes down to what is useful and discard the rest. I'm very simple. And if, as you see me, I'm really, it's the KISS concept. I minimize my inputs because I don't want conflict. So I minimize everything and keep it as simple as possible. Notice what happened down here. Microstructure. And we're still looking for this, and nobody knows. I mean, we could rally and never come back here. It's not the point. The point is, if you had this trade on, or even this one, you have to be managing your trade. Now, when you get into shorter fractals, you're basically getting into this trade. You see? So I would manage my trade here. And if I was a scalper, fine. It's all up to the individual. For me, this is the good trade. And that one too. So that, and they're managed. So you'd be out, you put it back out again. You might be out here. Or subject to your situation, you're just managing behind the high volume. It's all individually parsed, if that makes sense, you see. What was that, Cocobolo? Lack of counter rotations indicate large shorts are not taking stops and sticking. Well, when you see very shallow counter rotations, it's a very powerful move. There's not one you want to, for me, and I'm not saying I don't make a recommendation. For me, I don't have a long. The only long for me is to cover a short. And then I'm going to be looking, and I've already identified them, out here, for continuation trades back to VPOC, and then maybe down here or somewhere, or not at all, And I will take stops. Very proud of that. Not pleasant. Don't like them. But you know what I like? I like not doing damage psychologically to myself or financially. And if I have a loss limit, and every once in a while I get my loss limit, and it's not very high, because I'll put myself on a timeout and wait an hour or so because I'm not in alignment. If my trade plan, and I don't mind telling you this, you're not going to hear this probably in most other chat rooms because they're all wonderful. Well, let's get real. This is trading. We all take stops. And we have loss limits to protect our account and our brain. You know, if you take a huge drawdown, that's FOMO and that's psychological issues. Let's come back to this. Remember? I should be paying attention here for you guys. So what happened here? Let's look. This was our outside edge. That was a continuation, which is a high risk trade. This is a reversal structure. Chop, 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 and you see the high volume right there. That sets up this. If I come back here, and now this is scalpy, right? So this is, I only am showing you structure. Right here, I had my buyers. Let's come back over here too. Buyers were here. No thanks. See you later. Sellers. These guys get absorbed. Buyers come back to here. Where do my buy? And I get my sellers. Buyers come back to there. Can't make this stuff up. There's the line. Buyers get trapped here. I see buyers and the sellers absorb them. Right here, no buyer. This sets up a short. If you can read order flow right here. You could be short with a stop here. Where are you going to try to go? You got to scale very tightly. So you could be short. Now for me, it'd be here. But you might not be able to trade this because of your execution skill. But you can develop this if it's important to you. Or you're in a broader stroke. Here's the key. Here and here. This. Break here. There's my buyer. So what happened here? This buyer was absorbed. You can see the icebergs. You see the seller here. I get a buyer here. This seller absorbs the buyer. I get no buyer here. I have another seller here. I have a buyer here. If I don't get above this guy, then I'm going south of the border. That's it. And now where's my support? Here and here, outside edge. So think of it this way. I'm going to take you in micro. This is a distribution. And it's micro. Okay, I'm kind of like getting down with a scalpel. If you took a short here, your stop is here, not a trade recommendation. This volume down here is support. So what I'm going to be looking at, and I'm now again in the scalp area, buyers were here. They are absorbed. Let's watch. So this is resistance, microstructure. I have to get scaled, and I'm trying to get here. These are continuation trades, and it's very short-term trading. And I do not suggest this for anybody unless you have an ability to execute on a timely basis. The problem with this, let me tell you the downside to this, is that if you're entering here, your stop still has to be here, and your scale needs to be above, right above here, out here, right here. So this is your support area. I'm going to draw a little box here. Just want you to see this. That's close. Watch. This is the top of this consolidation. The green line is the high volume inside it. This is an outside edge. It's called the low volume node. Let me get this thing moved. It's stale. You can see where it is. So this here, this is the outside edge. If I get under here, then I'm working this. If I don't get under this, then I'm going to counter rotate. Why? Because the sellers here were absorbed. You see the buyers and you see the squeeze. Now, if that's all it's got in the tank, and this is a short, now I'm looking here. And I got to get risk neutral. My stop is here, not a trade recommendation. Let's watch. Are you guys tracking? Yeah, Stottlemyre, When I took the class, when I took it, it was market profile was in, I can't remember anymore, but it was 85 or something. And he had a book, it was called Market Logic School. It was him and a guy named Peter Moon. And he actually taught the class, and I learned classical market profile, and I thought I'd landed on Mars. And when I first started with it, I used indicators with it because I thought I'd have the best of both worlds, and what I ended up with is the best of garbage. And I set myself back a fair amount of time doing that because I wasn't ready. It's almost like, gee, you do something and you don't. And for me, I never, early on, nobody talked about gaming theory. It just wasn't part of the conversation. So let's see our behavior. Let's watch it. This is trading in fractals. So how do you deal with this? Well, if you took a short here, you've got to be scaling. You see it? And the reason is because of what happened here. There's your micro high volume structure. And there's the high volume. So I know to go lower, I got to get under here. And this is my target. So if I take a short here, I got to really be good on my entry, like here. I do that. But I've also taken, believe me, it took me a long time. And I always suggest in Trader Lab, drills, replays, high speed. It's about developing unconscious competence with order flow. So you got to be looking and you have to anticipate it. In other words, if you see it, it's like, okay, it's a suspect, right? When I'm breaking under this, it's a short, and I can put my stop here, and I got to get this thing, you see? So I'm not suggesting anybody do this. It's kind of I call it shoehorn trading, or a scalpel. But if you can understand what's happening here, when the range is bigger, same trade. The only difference, and what I always say in Trader Lab, is the only thing that changes from our trade plan is the range of the rotations. Nothing else. Nothing. So if you can learn this, it doesn't matter. This could be 20-point rotation. It's going to be the same thing. It's just in a fractal. And what are fractals? Russian dolls. The big one inside, and they go down in size. That's what rotations are. They're fractals. They're not crossovers of your stochastic or MACD. They're not your trend lines. They're nothing. They're not your Fibonacci retracements, extensions. It's not your Elliott wave. All that is really nice has nothing to do with what creates this. What creates this is participant behavior, valuation, and the seeking of what's too low. Right now, this is what was too low last time we were down here. The nature of the market is to check prices. This is the last time we were here. This was too low. What is currently, and this can change, too high? This in the developing time frame. If this is still too high, then my potential is to check what was too low. Does that make sense? This is trading. This is Trader Lab trading. This is auction market theory with structured trades. If you come to Trader Lab, I believe you can learn how to trade. Then it's up to you to do the work, roll up your sleeves. This is about building out the business of trading. There is a link in the bottom of YouTube. Click that link if you want to avail yourself of today's continuing stream that will be in the Bookmap Discord Trader Lab. I will extend it a couple of minutes based on what's going on. It is available exclusively to Bookmap Discord Trader Lab participants. If you come over to Bookmap Discord Trader Lab, there's no cost to become part of this terrific community of serious traders who have come together to leverage their collective experience. You can download the 60 PDFs of the structured trades I just showed you. Plus, there's a library of webinars. See what I'm saying? This is why this is important. Do you know that? Can you understand it? See, the thing about this is we can't predict. Let's watch. But we can anticipate, and then we can act accordingly subject to a vetted trade plan. Click the link in the bottom of YouTube to visit the Trader Lab. There's no cost. You can watch the continuation of this stream. And remember, these streams are available exclusively to the Bookmap Discord Trader Lab participants for review. Hope you got something out of this. Please give a thumb up in YouTube. Supports the channel and my continuing doing this for you. Remember, there is no cost. I'm going to discontinue the stream now in YouTube. Please give a thumb up on the way out. And if you're interested in the continuation of the stream, come on over to the Bookmap Discord Trader Lab community.